Hi Taurus, this is your monthly horoscope for August 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I haven't made these monthly horoscopes in a long time, so I'm really excited to be back. So this is specifically for you guys, Taurus, sun sign Taurus first, ascending Taurus second, and then moon in Taurus third, if you want to watch several things. And I'm going to have a look at what the planets are doing here in August and how they're going to influence you. So the first thing that's kind of interesting and that's noteworthy is that Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity and desire, that is your chart ruler, that's your big boss, right? That's in retrograde from the 22nd of July until the 3rd of September. So that's kind of interesting because with your ruler being in retrograde, all the things that you're naturally good at may take a little bit more effort. So as a Taurus, you're grounded, you're practical, you're able to take control of things, and you're able to adapt your environment, okay? So with Venus being in retrograde, it's going to strongly give you messages as in this needs to be done and this is the way I love this to look and these are the right people and this is what I love to do at work and creatively and this is what brings me joy, okay? So just be a little bit conscious of what that is and if there are any major changes, because the main thing about Venus in retrograde is that it can skew your perception and you suddenly become enamored with things that under normal circumstances you wouldn't be particularly interested in, right? So if you use all of your powers of organizing and getting things set up in a way that feels comforting and secure and positive for you, then in August you may do a lot of work that you then look at in September and kind of go, well, what was I so in love with here? This isn't that great. So I would just kind of exercise a caution when it comes to making big commitments of your time or investments, or you're really rolling up your sleeves and saying, okay, I'll take charge of this whole situation and make it fit for me and everyone else. Those are the kind of things where here in August, the outcome may be different to what you were expecting and you may experience disappointment or dissatisfaction. Now also, we've got the Sun in Leo, we've got the midheaven, which is your work and your vocational aptitudes, that's also in Leo next to the Sun. So work is going to be something that you may be a little bit at odds with. And then we've got Black Moon Lilith and Venus in Leo, all kind of sitting together in what's called a stellium, right? So they blend their energies together, all of that in Leo, in your fourth house of family, your roots, and what makes you feel secure is, I think there may be a dichotomy or a conflict between, I want to kind of really go inward and just spend time with people I love, my family, I want to enjoy my home, the things I've worked hard for, and to really just make the most of that. And even though that sounds somewhat insular and even sinister, I mean, isolating yourself is not a good thing, right? We all know that. But spending time with the people who are nearest and dearest to you and enjoying, your home and your garden and all those things, that's not particularly sinister. And with Venus being in retrograde, that's actually a good way forward to avoid any difficulties or problems. So enjoy the good things in your life, make the most of those, engage with them, perfect them, expand upon them, build them, all of those things. At the beginning of August, also, we have a full moon happening in Aquarius. And for you guys, Taurus, that happens in your 10th house of career. So that's really interesting because at the beginning of the month, you may get all these amazing ideas about work and how you can help in work and how you can help other people and how you can make the actual content of your work more positive for a greater number of people. But then you're going to meet this inner resistance of, well, that's all very well, but I actually just want to stay home and enjoy my hammock in the garden. So that's a kind of push and pull kind of conflict you're going to be experiencing here for a lot of the month. And at the same time, we've got Mercury, the communication planet, and Mars, the planet of drive and desire and ambition. Those are both in your 5th house of what you love and the things that make you feel passionate and alive. And that's kind of interesting because even with that, you're being overly analytical and you're like, okay, well, this may be a great idea, but is it going to work in 2 months? Or I may be enjoying myself with this person now, we're going out for a day trip, but what's going to happen in the winter? So and you may disagree with me on this, but I feel that you may have a tendency here in August to be a little bit of a doom and gloomer. like to see the worst in situations and to be a little bit too much in your head and to overanalyze and to even go into kind of protection mode, as in, I need to shield what I've got. And in my experience, if you kind of show up in a situation and you're super defensive, that kind of, and again, I could be wrong, but sometimes it can inspire people to attack. Or if you're in a situation where you're really afraid and insecure, it could inspire other people to then dominate or even bully. So I don't think you have anything to worry about here. I think you're in fact on the flip side of that, because you are so analytical, you're not likely to take the wrong step during this Venus retrograde, which a lot of people who aren't as aligned with Venus, obviously because it's your ruler Taurus, a lot of people will be making mistakes in business and in relationships and in terms of investments, risky investments, things like that. So I would say that you're kind of being sheltered a little bit from this retrograde, and you're not going to experience the majority of the kind of negatives here. On the 16th of August, we have a new moon in Leo, and that also happens in your 4th house near your IC, which is your roots, your home, where you belong, right? So the new moon is when the moon goes pitch black, it pulls energy in to start its new cycle, so it energizes itself, and it's pulling Leo energy in. So it's going to be, how can I spend even more time kind of enjoying the things that I have created up until this point in my life? So you're kind of humble, and you're kind of appreciative of what you've got, and that sounds really good to me. In my experience, people who can actually enjoy the things they have are actually happy. The people who, have everything in the world, but then always need something more, they're not as happy. So I really feel that this ability to appreciate the good stuff and what you've got is the key to happiness, and that's what you have access to here. So also in terms of ideas, making sense of things, when it comes to the structures and the securities of your life, I would encourage you to look around and to make improvements and to perfect things. But I also wouldn't encourage you to completely throw your whole life in the air and to start over, like moving to a whole different country on a whim or starting a new job just because. Those kind of things, be very cautious around. I mean, sometimes that's good and necessary. This, I don't think, is the right time for any of that. On the 23rd of August, Mercury, the communication planet, goes retrograde until the 15th of September, and it does that in your 5th house of what you love. And Mars is next to it. So by the end of the month, making sense of things is going to be more complicated, but also what I feel is like the first 3 weeks in August, the whole like summer break with the family and your inner circle, I think you'll tire of that by the end of the month, and I think you'll want to experience something new and even break out of your shell completely. So it's kind of a month of extremes here. You're being sheltered from the retrograde, but then by the end of the month, from the 23rd of August till the end, I think you'll want to even go on a trip or change the scenery so that you're exposed to something else. It's you kind of being fed up by the end of the month with, the same old, and you'll want some variety. And there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. By the end of the... Yeah, I'm just thinking, is there anything wrong with that? No, because you're avoiding some of the pitfalls of the Venus retrograde. I'm not starting the new business on a whim. I'm enjoying what I've got. And then by the end of the month, yes, great, I've enjoyed that, but now I also want to do something new. Okay, so by the end of the month, things like trips and maybe visiting different places, that's a good idea. Until Venus goes direct on the 3rd of September, I would still hold off on starting new businesses and committing to new relationships until the planet is direct. On the 28th, Uranus, the planet of miraculous and unexpected, that goes retrograde until January 2024. And it does that next to Jupiter, also in Taurus, in your 1st house of self. So that's really interesting because the staying home and then maybe like going on a bit of a trip or something, it's very much, if you look at life and you split it into 2 bits, right? You could say the domestic home sphere of your life, and then you could say the public sphere where other people are involved. And this month, the focus very much is on your home life, on your roots, what makes you happy. So if you haven't figured that out in the sense of, what kind of work makes me feel at home? Do I want to live in the city or in a town? In the country or, somewhere urban? What kind of relationship do I want? Where do I want to live? Like a semi-detached or a flat or a house, or what's right for me? Those kind of questions are going to, what's the expression, bear a lot of fruit here in August. So you can do some soul searching, but in a practical sense, in terms of what practical circumstances work best for me, and you can get a lot of answers out of that and then make the appropriate changes in September. So as far as problems and challenges and difficulties are concerned, I think you, Taurus, are one of the signs that's going to have the fewest issues with your ruler going retrograde this month. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I get for you here in August. I hope you have a fabulous time. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a fabulous August, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.